the Lake to River region is doing very well comparative to, I think, the rest of the state for the first time in a long time in terms of growing jobs.
Jobs Ohio, I think, is Ohio's competitive advantage. You've seen giant announcements here in Youngstown with Foxconn, SoftBank. I'm hearing there's one in the queue that you might be hearing about soon. So there's more announcements coming.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
Impact Ohio is a policy conference, and it's every other year in Columbus, right after Election Day. And the idea is to go from politics to policy as soon as possible. And then on the off years, they do it regionally. And so we have, for the last, I don't know, something like 8 years, brought Impact Ohio to this region. And it's an opportunity to bring state leaders into our region and talk about what's the most important issues facing this region that state leaders can help us with.
Impact Ohio is a brand that existed alongside the Ohio Chamber separately. We merged with the Impact Ohio brand about 3 years ago. As part of that, we thought one of the things we needed to do was make sure that the Ohio Chamber has events all around Ohio, and we came up with this Impact Ohio regional event concept. We talk about issues that are important in the Mahoning Valley for people that are dealing with local government, state government, and even the federal government. Sort of what are the most, and the business community, what are the most important issues we're facing. There's lots of opportunities. Some are at the federal level, some are at the state level, some are at the local level, and we wanted to have a format to talk about all those things in partnership with our local chamber partners here at the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber of Commerce.
First, let's start out with job creation. And so we have a panel discussion today with Lake to River Economic Development Foundation and Jobs Ohio to talk about that. We are seeing job creation at a very rapid pace. And so that's created a need to increase population and talent and also to increase the housing stock. And so the other two panel discussions today are on childcare to increase labor participation and also housing to increase the housing stock. The housing challenges are very complicated. In some areas we have zoning and building codes that don't meet good standards, modern standards, I should say. They were applicable decades ago. We haven't really needed to look at them because we haven't had the need. Now that we have the need and we need to increase housing, we need to look at those building and zoning codes that are decades old. Financing is an issue. Our property values are still kind of low here, and so the cost of building homes here and then what the builder can get for them is much less profitable than elsewhere, so it's hard to attract builders. Childcare costs have skyrocketed ever since COVID, and so it's very difficult for a lot of families to be able to afford childcare, and so if that's keeping people at home, it's costing the state literally billions of dollars between absenteeism for the employers, but then also loss of tax revenue for the state. So we do want to overcome that childcare. Access to childcare is a challenge, but then also the cost of childcare.
We have something we call the Blueprint for Ohio's Economic Future, and that we have all those things in there. All of those are really directly related to workforce. You got to train the existing people. You got to train as people retire and you get new young people. You got to train that workforce. And childcare is all about workforce participation. The Mahoning Valley's workforce participation is about 57%. Statewide, we're at about 63%. So a lot of those families need childcare if we're going to get both parents working. So we've got to make childcare both affordable and accessible. I guess accessible and affordable. It really can help get more people in the workforce. Housing is kind of, it stands to reason that if people don't have a place to live here, they can't work here. And we need people to move here because there are opportunities coming. The jobs are here and they're coming. Now we need to build the workforce. That means people moving here. That means more people that are here entering the workforce. That means more productivity. So we're talking about a lot of those things today.
The Lake to River region is doing very well comparative to, I think, the rest of the state for the first time in a long time in terms of growing jobs. And so that's why it's put a premium on us to increase talent and population so we can fill those jobs, and also increasing the housing stock so we have places for people to live as we grow the population. But if you look at some of the announcements here recently, like SoftBank and Foxconn in Lordstown, like Kimberly-Clark and Warren, and some other big job gainers, we are certainly growing the economy. How much we can grow it will depend on having the workforce availability.
Jobs Ohio, I think, is Ohio's competitive advantage. You've seen giant announcements here in Youngstown with Foxconn, SoftBank. I'm hearing there's one in the queue that you might be hearing about soon. So there's more announcements coming, and they're coming all over the state, including in Youngstown. But I've heard about a company that is down to 2 or 3 sites, and the Mahoning Valley is one of those. So the other sites are not in Ohio. So you are our play, and we're all in to make sure that that company locates here. I think they're in the decision-making process. So literally, before Thanksgiving, I think you might see an announcement.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.